Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night. This is the Shotgun Thoughts broadcast coming to you today, and we're going to be talking about how to find some solace in your life, some tranquility. I apologize for the stuffy nose, New York City. Still dealing with the aftermath of those wildfires in Canada, and it's been pretty humid over here, so really cannot breathe too well tonight. It's been like this last week. Oh my god, it's been terrible. It was like 70, almost 80% humidity for most of the time. Other than that, it was raining. So, you know, it's like you felt like you were just drowning in a pool of sweat. It was just so wet and warm. Like I went to the Dominican Republic many times. I basically lived there for a year total. And it gets hot over there. And you'd think for being an island that surrounded by water, it's pretty humid all the time. But not really. It's not that bad. Like because you're on an island, I guess, that wind, everything is moving pretty quick. So the weather just changes. If you get a storm and stuff, it's like the wind's always moving over there. So it's kind of nice. You could even be like in a fairly surrounded area and feel the wind moving. So yeah, it's very different from New York where it feels like you're in Florida sometimes. Although I don't even want to know what it's like because I do terrible in the heat, which is kind of a segue into a small health tip that I would like to give to everybody out there, especially those in the MS community. But your water intake, like it's not a joke. Like people tell you that you're supposed to have like 5 8 ounce glasses a day. Like they tell you all these general things, and it you can't be general with that. You know, it's either you're having enough water or you're not. You can't just say have 5 glasses of water a day. It depends on how big you are, how old you are. I mean, a 2-year-old compared to a 10-year-old compared to a 20, 30-year-old. Anyway, you get the point. It's, you know, the the thing that is scientifically correct, which they never tell you this. It's a simple formula. The minimum that you should have every day is however many pounds you are. If you're 200 pounds, the minimum you should have every day is 100 ounces of water. So that's the minimum. Now, if you're 200 pounds, you should ideally, in maximum, not maximum, but on the upside of that, on the higher end, you're talking 1 for 1. So if you're 200 pounds, 200 ounces of water every day. Now that is something like I have been a person who, from my teenage years, I've made a huge effort to drink more water. I knew all the stuff in the food and a lot of these chemicals, we don't know. We don't know. They tell us it's okay, but you just don't know. They just found aspartame. Aspartame, I believe, is taken. FDA, I think, is taking that off. I believe you could look this up. I'm pretty sure this came out like yesterday or 2 days ago. The FDA is taking aspartame off the charts. There's going to be no more aspartame in everything. Now, maybe something changed since that happened, but I'm telling you, that news came out. You could look that up. So, this is stuff that they've been telling us, there's no problem. You're crazy. You think artificial sweeteners, it's okay. They're finding out that this stuff is carcinogenic, which leads to cancer. At least that's, the scientific consensus right now. So it's like, at least, we don't know still. You got to be careful about things that you don't know. But the water intake is is something that nobody, why not break it down like that? You know? Every pound you are, half that minimum in ounces of water. And you could figure every a glass that you have is about 6 to 8 ounces on average. Um, it's just nuts. Like, people don't understand how important drinking water is every day. Oh, your body's made, 80% of water, 70 whatever percent of water. But it's not about that. It's the fact that everything runs on water. Like, you know, it's just not a joke. It really is. Everything runs on water. And you will feel that difference. If you pay attention and you listen to your body, the more it will speak to you. And you really have to give it water every day. I've been drinking, I've been trying to get like 60 ounces minimum. I mean, I drink a 22 ounce, I believe it's 22 ounce, these Yeti things. I've been drinking, at least 3 to 5 a day. That's not even my minimum. Like, I weigh 200 pounds. I need to drink 100 ounces of water a day minimum. That is 5 of these things. Well, if they're 22 ounces, that is. Which I don't know 100%. Could be right. Could be wrong. I feel like it's like 12, to be honest. So I gotta drink like 10 of these friggin' things minimum. So anyway, that's very important because I had the rule that you drink enough water that by the end of the day, sun goes down, you're peeing clear for the most part. I feel like that's a fairly decent rule, at least, even under the minimum, I guess. But that and it, I'm sorry, it flabbergasted me. It's mind blowing how that could be. There's so many people I know. I encourage people I know, my family, I encourage them to drink a lot of water. And a lot of people feel like they drink enough water, and I don't think so. I really do not think so. And the scary part is that, especially tap water or something like that, even in New York City, we got some of the best tap water in the country, but I'm just blown away why there's fluoride in the water. Why there are, there's trace amounts of pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. It's like, I don't want to scare people, but it's just the reality that we live in. And, you got to use filtered water because you got to drink a lot of that stuff. I mean, it's trace amounts of this stuff in there, but drinking that every day, all day, 100, 200 ounces of water, it's like you're going to be ingesting like actual pounds of any trace elements. Obviously, the minerals and the good things in the water that are naturally present. We need those, but we don't need all this other shit. That's why, again, these are some of my other videos. We need to just hold people accountable. And God, man, the power in numbers. There's so many people living in this country. We did so much more back in the day, in a way, because people were just willing to hold people accountable and speak up. Speak up. Like, you see these videos that it's like, I was watching something today where like a guy on a plane is acting like a madman, and he's telling people like, you know, basically, don't bother me, you're all gonna die, like, don't question me, what's going on, this and that. And then like nobody's doing anything. It took one dark skinned brave soul to stand up to this guy, and is immediately the dude like panics and backs off. I don't know what happened, the video cut off, but hopefully everybody was all right. I heard that the pilot got threatened. I don't know if the guy actually had a knife on the plane, but yeah, I heard he got threatened. It's just crazy. All those people could have grabbed that guy, made it a totally trivial situation with the amount of people in contrast to what that guy is trying to accomplish. So Oh man, people, we need to stand together. We need to stop this degradation of like the human the human condition. Like we're all here working toward the same end goal, right? Like your family, you want them to do well. You want people you love to do well. You want people, you're acquainted with to do well for the most part. Hopefully. Like, there's so much animosity that people have toward one another. I live in New York City, and it's kind of crazy because we got people here that like they'll be rude real quick to you. Like you're acting a foul. You're kind of not doing your part as your fellow citizen. New Yorkers are definitely going to give you eyes at the very least, but you will get plenty of outspoken people who tell you to just right to your face, or just say something to you. But then there's other times where like when things are a little bit uncontained, people react the same way they would anywhere, where they're kind of just like afraid and don't know what to do. And, you know, I've been in those situations for sure. But in the end, you got to do something. And every time I've been in that situation, I've done something. Thankfully, I haven't been in one of those life-threatening type of situations, but I remember I worked in Madison Square Garden 20 2018, I believe this was. And no, sorry, 2016. And I was coming out one night, and we get out late. We get out like 2 in the morning, you know, gets out anywhere from like 2 to 4, something like that. And I'm outside waiting, train scheduled and stuff, thinking whether I'm going to go out with some of the guys from work or I'm going to, catch the train home. And I'm sitting outside there. It had to be late this night. It was definitely around like 2, 3 in the morning. There was not too many people out. And there's a guy, he's screaming, "Fucking son of a bitch! You son of a you son of a." He comes up. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's coming my direction. He's screaming. He's screaming about his wife, that, everything he's done for her, and she's treating on him, blah, 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 this and that. He's gonna kill her. And he's coming right at me. He's coming right at me. And you kind of get that where it's like, that there's a fate and you can't avoid it. Like, you can't, I guess you could. I guess you could run away, like literally. And I don't know. In my mind, that's not the case. So this guy was basically coming at me. I have nothing to be afraid of. You know, if something's gonna happen, I trust myself to carry things out in all situations. When I am backed into a corner, that is where sparks fly. I don't have to worry about anything. Like I go on the default mode network, I'll do a backflip off that wall that I'm backed into. I'm not even joking, man. I'll pull off some acrobatic, academic, just you don't know. You don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. I just know it's gonna happen. And this guy comes straight up to me, and I'm like, listen, man. I mean, I can't tell you exactly what I said. These in the moment type of things, I hate it. I'm not a great storyteller, and I wish I could remember more of the details to this. I always tell people I wish there was like cameramen following me around, because some of these things I wish I could have documented. I have a lot of experiences coming home late at night. I've worked a graveyard shift for many jobs, and there's some crazy stuff that happens in this city. So that's one of the times. And, you know, I end up consoling this guy and telling him, look, it's not where he told me he was a veteran. He was wearing a veteran hat. And, he told me where he fought. He was in Afghanistan, Iraq. I was like, listen, I don't know what happened with his wife. I'm not excusing any behavior that he has and this and that. I'm just trying to help a man not end up in prison that night, you know? And if I was going to get stabbed or something happened to me, I'm trusting again in corner mechanics. So I'm sorry, we got cut off there. I lost part of my video. So it's this the next day now, but we're gonna continue on with that. So, you know, corner mechanics, I really trust in that, where we're gonna we're gonna shine when we best need to, and that's just something I can trust myself to be able to accomplish. And that night, basically, we after talking to him and everything, and he cooled down, became level-headed. We hugged, and he went down into the subway. I went off to. I think I was hanging out with my friends that night at there's a bar right up the block, like attached to the Madison Square Garden thing. So yeah, I think that was an interesting night. That was definitely an interesting night. And you just got to make the best of things sometimes. And your words can do a lot. Having a genuine inflection in your delivery and like being a part of what you're doing, being committed to it, and I don't know, like seeing that end result in your head, you know, it's almost like facing something you're afraid of. If you're trying to face that and you're actually afraid of that and you actually only just see, fear and all of these negative outcomes, I'm pretty sure that that's what's going to happen in the end. You're not facing that fear, you're just standing in front of it. You're being an obstacle, more or less, but you want to be an effective obstacle. You want to be able to stand and overcome. So you need to see that end result, and that could be the case with many things in life. You really got to see yourself on the other side of that wall. And that quote actually might be from somebody many people might not like to hear it, but I believe that was Trump. Who said, when you see a wall, see yourself on the other side of it. And I might be paraphrasing that. Maybe luckily, come after me, Mr. Legal Man. He's in like what is he up to, like 79 indictments now? They just keep stacking them. Started with like 35, now they're up to like 70 something. Jesus Christmas. I heard this was news today, I believe. He was supposed to be dropping out of the presidential debates. Anyway, that's the rumor, that he might be dropping out of the presidential debates, which I don't know what that means in terms of what's going to happen if he's still running then. I don't know what that means. But anyway, that's a whole different cookie box. So, yeah. Then, I really should put like a disclaimer on these episodes sometimes, because I have the intention to talk about one thing, but even in writing, a lot of times I start at the end and then I work to the front. It's the strangest thing. I have these ideas and these thoughts that come to me. Like, I wanted to talk about relaxing and everything today. Meanwhile, I start off, I will talk about water. That was supposed to be the segue into, like a healthy, rounded, just foundation to work off from, because you need some semblance of health. If you don't have your water intake, then you may as well be a piece of beef jerky. Just all right. So, let's get back to that. I guess the second half of this episode will be about what I said in the first half and the introduction, which I'm sorry to get your hopes up right away that I'd be getting into the relaxing part of this broadcast. But, I can be very hectic, tumultuous. You could see that. There's a lot that comes out, you know. And if I didn't have a way to balance that and really tone myself down sometimes, I'd be, the candle that burned himself out 50 times as fast. Didn't I burned a little brighter, but I'm just overworking myself at this point. So, you got to tone down. You got to tone it down. Got to have your water. I'm on my second one, and we're at 11:43 a.m. right now. And we're at the bottom of this one. So that's good. And my lips are dry. That's one of the first indicators of being dehydrated. Dry lips. Can happen if you're licking your lips all the time. You could find plenty of reasons to make anything not the case when somebody says that. We need to stop also like living in that type of social climate where like everybody wants to find something wrong with what you're saying, which I get it when it's, you know, there's actually a justifiable reason to want to pursue that information. But yeah, for sure. I'm not one opposed to questions because I sure have a lot of them when people are talking to me. So anyway, um, I really like to if things are super hectic for me, I mean you have to be able to make some space for yourself. Even if like let's say you're at worst case, you don't have the ability to literally make space, you're surrounded by people, you might have to leave that space. Maybe the the most comfortable place for you, you might have to leave that to find some space from people if you're looking for that, which you should pursue for sure, because there are times, especially when my wife is home, or I'm just surrounded by people. If I'm at a party or something, you don't want to deal with that around a lot of people, that level of stress, that you're not in the same mood. So you really should leave, because you want to like first remove other people from the factor. You don't want to have other people, like it's like variables to an equation. It's like, at least if you're good with yourself, if you trust the people around you to kind of stabilize you, then you might have a different route of how to bring yourself down and everything. But me, I'm a loner. I tend to isolate, especially when I'm emotional and I'm going down in a negative way. I tend to, that's where I'm implosive and I'm like internal. I keep things internalized. And only vocally I tend to be explosive and everything. I don't really anyway. So kind of lost track what I was going into there, but sometimes you can get very depressed. You might you might feel certain ways. You really got to bring yourself to a level and have that mentality of like it's just what's going on now. It's you're gonna be able to rationalize this as time goes on. A lot of things, especially emotionally, they can be overwhelming. Like it's just a whirlwind of thoughts, and you have to remember that those things, like, not that they will pass, but you will have more clarity as time passes. It's like your brain's a processor, and sometimes you just got to give it, you got to sleep on things. You know how you might have difficulty with something one day, and like you sleep on it, literally, where you just go to sleep. You're not thinking about it too much. Maybe it might have been in your mind, but either way, you weren't any more productive in coming to a solution in your thoughts before sleep. But that next day, maybe that idea comes to you, or physically, you were trying something, especially with video games. That is super evident. Like when you're Dark Souls, stuff like this, StarCraft, things, very difficult, challenging video games, even solitaire and stuff. If you sleep on it the next day, man, you'll figure it out. Your brain's just got it. It processed it. That's what that's what the dreaming is all about. It's like your brain is just downloading and running that through the processor every night. It's got a lot to go through. It's the file clerk in there. He's he's mushy. He's surrounded by fluid, but he's sorting it out. He's cooking. He's cooking up there. So you got to give yourself that rest. That's why you need the water. because that guy is sucking down the gasoline, man. He's like an ethanol guy. You know, these people outside the gas stations with the nozzle in their mouth and stuff. I don't know, this shit is crazy, man. It's worth. I'm the shotgun thoughts, baby, shotgun thoughts. So we're keeping it level, and you know, if I definitely meditate because you could see me. I'm just all over the place. Like my thoughts are like that all day and stuff. So I have to dedicate those times where I'm just going to concentrate on relaxing, you know? And I have to meditate for the most part. Now, a lot of people think that that requires like yoga, like you got to do yoga and all this stuff. No. For many, many different people, even those of the most devout, you know, protection and like conservation of the art of meditation, they'll pretty much, they might make it seem more than it is, but in the end you could just boil it down to the fact that you're calming yourself, you're focusing on your breathing, and you're emptying your thoughts and your mind, and you're really just becoming one with your surroundings, and you're trying to work on your perspective and you're shifting. I like to tell people very simply that, you know, you close your eyes, you focus on your breathing, breathe in through your nose, and you breathe out. And then in that time, you're trying to remove yourself and just think of your surroundings, what's around you, see that, visualize it, and then you, almost like if you play video games or, you know, in a movie, they kind of zoom out from the character and it's like the camera just floats up into the air. It's like that's what you want to do, and just keep gaining perspective on what's around you and seeing everything, and having that just outside perspective and removing yourself from you in a way. So that's what works for me. I'm sure that it will adapt over time and evolve as we all do, and the things that we do. So yeah, that's really good for me. I also like to go for walks. That's very important, especially like I said, when there's people around you or the person you're with might be, you know, part of that reason why you're stressed or frustrated. So yeah, you bring that down. I love to eat, to be honest. So for me, a walk plus going somewhere, like a walk to the pizza place, that's the best, you know. I don't do that enough. I really need to, because that's a series of things that I like. It just tends to be at night where I go for my walks, so I guess a lot of food places. Not really. This is New York City. I'm making excuses. See this? Making excuses for my behavior. So, you know what? I'm definitely gonna, next time I'm stressed, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Just gonna go down to the pizza place, man, grab a slice. Fortunately, not my favorite pizza place close by. As good as the pizza might be in New York, there's a lot of bad pizza. There's a lot of bad pizza. Like horrible, horrible pizza. I could name a few places, but let's not do that, you know. So I think that's gonna be it for today. I kind of just wanted to round this one off and get to everything. I'm sorry I couldn't really focus on that, you know, relaxation topic like I said in the beginning. It just, you know, it speaks through me sometimes. I call it the ethereal pathway. It's just I gotta let out what needs to come out. I'm sorry, everybody. But hopefully this podcast was relaxing and insightful at the very least. But appreciate it. You guys have a great day, evening, afternoon, night, whatever it might be. I appreciate it. Like, follow, subscribe, comment, anything you'd guys like to contribute to the conversation. There's mainly YouTube where you can comment, and I'm not sure there's people listening, and if there might also be people watching, but for those people listening, there is on YouTube videos where you can pretty much just see some nice photography and me on camera, where I'm usually shirtless for the sake of heat regulation. I tend to get really hot, and it just it degrades my condition rapidly. Like my muscles lock up, I get cramps, headaches, forget it. It's really bad. So I need to keep myself cool and everything like that. So I apologize that sometimes I might be shirtless and everything. That's why I tend to just do that with, the lights off and everything. But yeah, you all have a great one. Appreciate you listening. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. We'll be back soon.